Hello, hello, hello. How's everyone doing? Get this camera kind of tilted there. My name's Kurt. I'm a dad who draws, and this is the daily draw. We get together every Monday afternoon, well, every day of the week, but on Mondays we always talk about something that is natural. So today we're going to take a look at fallen logs, or logs that have been fallen on the ground, and we can then use those in order to describe form and mass. Okay, so let's look at this. So if I the most simplest way, if I think of a log, and a tree is a cylinder essentially. Okay, so let's start off just with this idea that we're going to draw a cylinder. And a cylinder is pretty easy. It's a form that we've drawn before, just like this. But what's key about a cylinder, okay, is the oval. And I don't think we've talked about ovals in a while. And to draw an oval, it's a very tricky process. But let's go over it really quickly. There is a minor axis and a major axis when it comes to drawing an oval. The minor axis is the shortest distance across the face of an oval, you see? And that's the axis as artists that we are most concerned about, because we want to make sure that A is reflective of B. All right? So if there's my minor axis, and let's just say I was going to draw an oval here. There's that. Now I'm going to try and be perfectly reflective of that, like that, you see? And if I draw another one, here's the axis, but this one I'm going to make a little bit wider. You see, A is reflective of B, right across that minor axis. Now I want to get to a point where I could just draw ovals without drawing that minor axis. Whether I draw them large or small, I always want to keep this minor axis in mind and make sure that they're reflective, okay? Now, you might have a scenario where the minor axis is running this way. Okay, so we just change the angle of our oval to be, again, reflective, A and B. The thing you don't want to do is draw it like this. You see, this is not reflective. A is not reflective of B. They're at a different angle. The correct way to draw this along this minor axis would be like this. A now is reflective of B. Okay? So let's keep that idea in mind when we draw fallen logs. Okay, so here's my log. And let's draw on. I'm going to draw something on top of this picture here to help you see this. The center line of that log is also the minor axis, right? So you can see that this oval that represents the face of that log, A, is going to be reflective of B. So when you draw your ovals, let's just remember that we keep that in mind, all right? All right, let's get into this. So first thing is I'm going to try and get like an action line or a line of direction, okay, going down this fallen log here. And then, like I just said, we're going to draw that oval. And now we're going to have a sense of overlap. Now watch what I do here. This this is overlap. You see where this top part of that log is in front of this back end here. And so this comes up, and look at this right here. This goes like this, and that's overlap for the underside of that log. You see that? Watch this. This comes around like this, and that's a little bit of overlap there. And we create overlap with Y's and T's. So these are the things you want to keep thinking of your form of what's overlapping what, okay? Because it's interesting. It's coming towards us. So let's draw that out right there. So this log is going to come like this, and I'm going to just keep it light here. Now it's going to come around like this. There's another overlap. I'm just kind of putting in some containment lines so I get a sense of how far I want to make sure that my texture of bark is going to come. So here's like, watch this now. This is going to be a bit of the bark. It's going to come right there, right to the edge, and then it's going to go across the face of it. You see that? And we could expand this idea out. And then it's going to come across this distance here, you see? Now I like to use, now you can't see it really in this log per se, but I also like to add some type of surface lines, because at the end of the day, no one is going to see this picture. All they're going to see is my drawing of this picture. So if I can add certain elements that will give my object volume and mass, I'm going to be successful there. So let's do a little overlap there. Okay, that's going to come back now. All right, let's come back to the bottom here, and if I go too fast, please tell me to slow down. There is that overlap of that under area coming down like this, and then this area, the very back end of this tree, it's kind of hollow, like this, and you could see that this over time has collected. The wood chips have started to turn into soil. There's moss that's growing in there now. You can see that this is coming around. I keep looking for areas where I could use these Y's to try and describe form. And then last thing on this picture, you're gonna, of course, drop a nice tone in the front end here. And I just noticed something. This thing is somewhat buried, so you could come in here with your eraser per se. Oops. And just give a really sharp edge of where it's sinking below the surface, you see? But it's helpful that I drew this full oval there in order to get the correct diameter right. So find your center line. Get your ovals down. Then you're going to use surface lines. Texture. And value. Overlap. And this is Y's and T's. These are the Y's right there, where that's a Y right there. You see that? This could be a T, an upside down T, you see? This is what we use to create mass, volume, and depth. Okay, let's bring up another picture. I'll give you 30 seconds to write that down. Okay, let's keep going. Oh, this is an interesting one. Okay, so now in this scenario, look at this. This is interesting. This is not going back in space, it's going across. And I bring this up because this is an interesting way of using a fallen tree in relationship to this waterfall. So let's just kind of like really give this, it's bowing down, it's bowing down, right? And I could sort of see this end here, so I'm gonna put an oval there to help me just a bit. And then this is going to come back over here, and then of course this is going to be that oval is going to be that way. Okay, I can see that half of this tree is going to be in tone, so I could do something like this on the lower half there. Now, in order, I usually do this, even if it's not in the picture, I like to add a little coarse shadow because it helps to make things read as being round. The coarse shadow is just a little bit of the darker shadow right where it comes in contact with the light. And as far as this water goes, I'm going to just use surface lines to indicate that water bubbling over. And to make that water pop, really, I want to make sure I really darken the area around it. I could add more rocks over here. I'm going to go back in now and add a little bit of texture to this fallen log. And then even down here you could come up with an interesting silhouette. You could even add a branch over here. But I'm always thinking of this thing as being round. Okay. It all starts with getting that center line and then getting the ovals to make sure the thing is round, and then after that, that's the construction phase of a drawing. Then after that, I can add the details, the tone, the bark, the texture. Okay, let's look at one more scenario. Okay, here's a good one. So let's start with let's start with the top log. So this is going to be the direction of that top log there, and let's draw this oval here so we kind of know he's coming in with this direction, and we can. All right, so we have that, right? We've got this guy coming. This guy is coming up here like this. All right, maybe he's coming in this direction. And then this guy is coming down here like this. And then we've got a nice brown log, or not really a log, but a big old branch falling in right here. All right, let's just quickly drop in some big shapes here. This might be the shape of that big rock that's behind all of that right there. And then I have another rock right here. And then another one up here. Another one right there. And then I've got this embankment that is coming here, you see? Just looking for the big shapes right now. I've got that right there. Okay, great. There's a rock that's underwater right there. And then in the distance, we've got some big old trees. Space them out so we have some interest there. So this is how I would start a nice drawing like this, where I'm going to like start thinking of volume. I'm going to start thinking of form. I'm asking myself, what are the layers? What objects are in front of what other objects? Okay, layering. And then once I have all that, that would be part of my construction. Now, sometimes construction will lend itself into the adding value, the decoration area. But let's just say, here's my, let's take this rock. Here's this rock right here. So I might come up here like this, where I separate the dark from the light. So this is going to be my surface lines here, you see? And then on this, let's just say this branch is going to be like this. Look at, there's a dark side to it. What about this guy up here? He's kind of got this dark side right there, right? But I never leave the basic concept that this has mass and this thing has form to it. Adding surface lines as I go. When I am adding the surface lines, one other thing I'm trying to do is not make them perfectly even, you see? I'm thinking of like, all right, maybe a couple of them together here, and then spread a couple out, and then, see, this becomes far more interesting than having it perfectly all lined up. So you want to be aware of that. All right. That's going to do it for today's daily draw. That should give you some ideas of drawing fallen logs. Make sure you get those ovals right, and make sure you think of cylinders before logs. If you get your cylinders right, then your logs will come along much easier. Thanks for watching. My name's Kurt. I'm a dad who draws, and this is the Daily Draw. Have yourself a great afternoon, okay? All right. Bye-bye.